everybody, this is Jennifer. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to tell you how I did on Shorty September this year, like the first year. So I read, like, September was a pretty decent reading month for me, and I'm quite happy about it. And my October, I think, has gotten off to a really good start, thanks in part to how the momentum I've gotten from Shorty September. So I have 10 things that I read, so I want to get started. And I want to tell you, like, I did the breakdown here. I have 4 3 stars, 4 4 stars, and 2 5 stars, and no 2 or 1 stars, thank goodness. I had a very nice vacation this month. I got a lot of good reading done. Let me go ahead and get started. Shorty September was a month-long readathon where we read short books. There was a very nice card with prompts, and I'll go into that later. And it was hosted by Bert and Sean from Storytime and Heather over at Soggy Expat Book Nerd, who did a blog and a book a day. And that was impressive, and I saw some of them. I didn't see all of them, but I did the best I could because I was reading a lot. So one of the first things I finished, and I've already discussed this a bit, was Galatia by Madeleine Miller. That's the one I gave 3 stars. I discussed that in my previous video. I also discussed Plastic Jesus, which was my first 5-star of the month, and that's by Poppy Z. Bright. I finished Out East, which technically wasn't a shorty. It was something I had started in August that I was finishing in September. Memento, which is a short story in the Illuminae Files series by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I gave that 3 stars. I don't remember if yes, I definitely did discuss that. And then The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, which is the novel that, the novelization of the Hellraiser movie. That was a 4-star. Still think quite fondly of that. 6 was my biggest pleasant surprise, which was Crudo by Olivia Lang. I don't know that it stuck with me as much as I thought it would, but I did really got a lot out of that I didn't think I was, and that ended up being a 4-star. The next thing I read was my next 5-star, and this is where I stopped like the last time. So I wasn't exactly planning on reading this like right away, but I just felt I wanted to, and I started it on vacation, and it's Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. And this involves a woman in her late 30s, Tsukiko, and the man she refers to as sensei because he was her Japanese teacher in high school. And they meet up after like 20 years. They meet up after 20 years and they form a bond. And they start running into each other at the sushi bar. And so they form a bond, they form a relationship, and it's a bit of like, it's a bit of cat and mouse, like not in a, like, in an emotional sense, because there is a major age gap between them. So they both feel a bit weird about that, and they're both like pulling away. So they have a very tenuous bond because they're both very aware of how different they are. But I just found this to be just like heartwarming and lovely, and I really loved it. And if I could, I'd reread it right away, but I have other things going on. So yeah, Strange Weather from Tokyo is going to be one of the standouts of the year for me, and I gave it 5 stars. The next thing I read was a book of short stories on my Kindle by Poppy Z. Bright. I've read a lot of Poppy Z. Bright this month. It's used stories, and it's a bunch of ones that, like, they're referred to as B-sides in the foreword. But yeah, some of them were like, I ended up giving this 3 stars because one, they're mostly horror, and that's kind of not what I want out of Poppy Z. Bright anymore. I still like the old like 90s horror novels like Lost Souls and Drowning and Drawing Blood, but like at this point any new horror, just, I don't know, it's not where I'm at right now. And then one of the stories was just like, it was so short and inconsequential. I'm like, why is it even in there? But in general, I like Poppy Z. Bright's writing, and that wasn't changed here. So after that, I read another short story collection by Poppy Z. Bright. It's The Devil You Know, and this one was a reread. And the difference between this one and used stories is, one, there's much less horror. Like, there's a little bit, but they're more set in the more reality-based novels, like that Bright started writing after 2000, in the late 90s and into the 2000s. So I liked those a lot better, and this was a 4-star read for me. And then the last thing I read, which wasn't the most successful for me, was A Game of You. It's volume 5 of the Sandman. Neil Gaiman, Sean McManus, and Kathleen Doran. Neil wrote, and then the rest were illustrators and artists. So it was 3 stars. There are parts of this, like this is the fifth volume, so I don't want to go into much of anything. But there were parts of this that took place in like this dreamland, and I just found those to be incredibly tedious. And I'm like, it's like they're inside of a child's imagination, and like I could not be bothered with that. And so there were stretches of this that I just like could not get into. However, there was other parts set in the real world that I liked much better, so it ended up being a 3-star for me. And that was the last thing I finished in September. So that is what I read. Now, I promised that I would go around the end and tell you like Heather did a really excellent card with like prompts and stuff that I will put up here for Shorty September, and I will I did not read one book per prompt, so you're gonna hear a lot of the same, but let me just go down real quick and let you know what prompts I hit. Shorty Shorts, which is a book from the 70s or 80s. I had 2 books that fell into that: Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, and then The Man Who Folded Himself, which I did not finish until today, so it wasn't a part of the other ones, but that's the one I picked and I started it. Runway Fashion Shorts, a translated book, that was Strange Weather in Tokyo. Granddad Shorts, a book you've had a long time, that was The Devil You Know by Poppy Z. Bright. That was a reread, and I've had it for like a good 7 or 8 years. Bermuda Shorts, a book that is set in another country. Crudo, Strange Weather in Tokyo, Plastic Jesus, those all took place in other countries from the United States, which is where I live. Half and Half Shorts, either to read the book and then watch the movie, or to read the book of a movie you've already seen, and that counts for The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, because I have already watched Hellraiser. I did not get to watch it again last month. So a few that I did not get to: Denim Shorts, a modern classic. I did not get to those. Hometown Shorts, books set in the place where you live. I didn't really get to one of those either, unless we're being very broad and counting the American South for several of the Poppy Z. Bright books I read. Squirts, something that mixes genres or doesn't fit in a genre. I don't know. stuck with like Strange Weather in Tokyo is very literary or romantic. And then, no, I don't really think I have anything for that. So a comfort read, The Devil You Know, was a reread, and some of the stories dealt with people that I was familiar with and characters I was familiar with, so that counts. Gym Shorts, a book to get your pulse racing. The Hellbound Heart is going to count for that one. And this next one, the last one, which is Rip Shorts, a slasher or a murder mystery. I don't read mysteries, so I had to go with a horror in that case. So yeah, that was my September reading. October's going good still too. And I am very happy about how my September reading turned out. If any of you took part in Shorty September, or if you had any good reads in September, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys. Bye.